All right, here we go. Hello, testing. Hello. This feels really strange. I'm legitimately recording audio right now in my car while I'm driving, which is odd. This is definitely a brand new thing for me. I guess it would be good for me to introduce myself right now. Hello, I'm THP, at least on the internet. That's my handle, the hat person. And because I don't really wear a hat all that much anymore, I kind of just shortened it to the initials, or like the acronym, I guess is what you would call it, THP. That's what most people call me. Although my name is out there, whatever, I don't care. That's just kind of like the fun thing to do on the internet, isn't it? That even if people do know your real name, people like to give you like that, internet-ish, username kind of name. Everybody knows that, like, Zero, the Smash Brothers player, is called, Gonzalo Barrios or whatever. But it's like, whatever, he's Zero, he's my man Zero. And that's what I really love about the internet, or like, gamer culture in general, where you can almost have like a bit of a double life, like a double personality, where it's like, in real life, I'm talking like you're a fucking superhero or something. In real life, I am, Bob Howard. But at night, when I log on to the Matrix, I am Butt Slapper 47. There was this dude on the internet that I saw that records like these ridiculous videos, but he's like, yo man, this is me, this is Eat That Pussy 411. Like, and that obviously the usernames are a good opportunity to be funny, although you don't really know for how long they will be funny. It's like, okay, when you hear Eat That Pussy 411 once, it's like, okay, it's funny, and then the second one, just because of the the novelty of it, you're like, haha, okay, yeah, we get it. But then after like the third or fourth, you kind of don't react to it anymore, right? It's like when the Nintendo Wii first came out, and everybody heard the name the Wii, right? And immediately, back in like what, 2005, 2004, 2005, back when the console was announced, everybody was like, oh, what, the Wii? Oh, that sounds so stupid. Oh, look, me. Look, I'm going down a slide. Whee! Look, I just said the name of the console. I'm funny, guys. Am I funny? Am I really funny? Be sure to subscribe to my Newgrounds page. Because back in the day, I think like YouTube was brand new in like 2005. I think people were still going to places like E-Bombs World and like stupidvideos.com and Newgrounds or whatever. Yeah. It'd be like that. But anyway, I don't know why I went into this super big tangent. Okay, so let me just explain myself, because I really need to have this pilot episode be like an introductory first run, because I don't even know if I'm going to be using this recording or not. If I do use it, my assumption is that I'm going to have to like rescue it by doing a lot of editing or whatever, because of a couple of reasons, but let's take baby steps, because if you guys know me and you follow my YouTube channel and you follow my other activities online, you guys will know that I'm a very long-winded person, and I love going on tangents, tangent after tangent after tangent. You guys can make like a whole tree of all of the little things that, kind of jumpstart something else, and so I never truly finish my thoughts, and so I have to like backtrack in my own mind, going like, what was I talking about? So let's just take baby steps and just, not worry too much about the pacing of this pilot episode, and just kind of take it easy, okay? So yeah, I'm THP. If you guys don't know who I am, and you probably don't, because if this works out, then I'll be putting this on like iTunes and YouTube or whatever. So I am a YouTube content creator. I've been making YouTube videos for more than 10 years now, almost 13 years to be precise. Ever since I was like 14, 15 years old, I've been making videos. I was inspired a lot by like the Angry Video Game Nerd and the Nostalgia Critic and all those people. And so I said, I want to make like movie review kind of stuff. I want to make game review sort of stuff, mostly video games. But at the time when I was really young, I didn't have like a capture card. I had no way of like recording game footage without having it be like Dark Side Filth style, where you kind of just point at the camera at the television. In fact, I have like a quote-unquote review out there of Sonic the Hedgehog. Sonic 06, as most people tend to call it. And it's literally that. It's me pointing the camera at the screen, thinking that, oh yeah, it's perfect. And I'm just talking onto the little tiny digital camera and saying like the stupidest stuff ever, because you know, I had no experience with commentating or even talking about it. I just knew like, oh, everybody thinks this game is bad, so I'll just, you know, I'll just say curse words and stuff, and everybody will agree with me. Yeah, validation, you know? It's still out there. I'm pretty sure that video was still out there on the internet because I had an older account. Guitar Master 195. That's what I used to be called. And then I wanted to reinvent myself. Like, I really wanted to take YouTube seriously for a bit. So during high school, I think I changed my name. No, actually, no. It was not high school. It was before that. It was like middle school. I changed my name and my entire channel. Like, I just totally abandoned that Guitar Master 195 channel in favor of a new channel. And I called that one The Hat Person. Because, again, you know, inspired by that guy with the glasses and whatnot, because, you know, his name was That Guy with the Glasses. And then when more people started joining the site, you know, people were like, oh, I am that dude in the suede. People were just kind of branching off of his name, right? I am that chick with the goggles. I'm the nostalgia chick. I am cold guy, or that Aussie guy, you know, that other guy. It's just like descriptions or whatever to make it all quirky. And so it kind of became a thing. And so there's like this wave, you know, like this generation of content creators that kind of ended up naming themselves in that style. And I'm definitely one of them. So I said, you know, what's like a very like simple description of myself, right? And so at the time, this is really cringy, I know, but like I used to really be into like Scatman John when like in my very early like pre-teenage years, like from like 12 to like 15, I was like super duper into him, which is weird because he's like, you know, some dead guy from the 90s, you know, he's been dead for years. But I discovered his music on YouTube because obviously, you know, meme culture and YouTube poops and whatever, you kind of just bump into old ass music that way. And so I heard that song, I'm a Scatman, you know, that one. And so I don't know why, I was just completely enamored by that music. I just loved it. I even like did like the scatting stuff at school one time, and I impressed people with it because I would just sing it to myself a lot, so I just learned it. Yeah, and so Scatman John was like a very like jazz musician kind of guy, you know, he had that style. And so he wore the fedora hat and everything. And so I said, oh, well, I want to wear a hat because I want to be like him. He seems really cool. And so I started wearing it. And that was, you know, before the whole like Milady 4chan, you know, atheist, sad, pathetic weeb kind of meme that was created, you know. And I am an atheist, weeb, pathetic man, you know? Except that, you know, I just don't look as, I'm just not fat and a neck beard like the meme implies. I'm saving myself by a hair there. I'm just one step away from being exactly that. But I don't wear the hat anymore, so I guess, you know. And it wasn't for that, it wasn't for the meme. It was just, you know, it was for technical difficulties. I wear headphones all the time, and so I couldn't wear my hat and the headphones at the same time. You know, like the over-the-ear headphones, so I just took off the hat and I kind of just never wore it again. But yeah, you know, that's why I wore the hat. And so for the descriptor, I said, well, I have a hat, you know, like, can I be the hat guy? No. That one dude with the silly hat? No. That fedora guy? No. And thank God I didn't call myself the fedora guy because, you know, now, nowadays I'd just be the laughing stock, I guess. I'd probably just, you know, welcome the meme in open arms and just be like, yeah, fuck it, you know, that's what I am. But yeah, I just wanted something simple, you know. It's like, okay, 3 words, or, you know, something that can be abbreviated to 3 letters, you know. Even back then I thought about, okay, you know, the worst thing that could happen is that people just call me THP and like that's it. And so I went for the Hat Person, and the name just kind of stuck, you know. My brother liked it. Even my family, like my parents still say like, oh, what is the Hat Person up to, right? Because I'm just, you know, that's kind of like my persona on the internet. Everybody knows it. And I've had that name for so long that even when I was not technically the Hat Person anymore, there was like a small little time in my YouTube channel, like maybe 2 days, where I just ended up using my real name. It's like, hey, it just doesn't feel right, you know? It's not like internet-y enough, you know? It's kind of like, it's cool. I think it's cool. It's fun to just have a different name, you know? Even if everybody knows what your name already is. And even if you do use your real name, like say Roger's Base, you know, that therein lies the detail, right? His name is Roger, but like he adds like a little thing at the end, you know? Or like X-Forts. one of my favorite JoJo's Bizarre Adventure YouTubers. His name is Julian Forts, and, you know, like, his Twitter has the name, and he's very open about it, whatever, but, like, we all call him X Forts, you know, and he uses his last name and put a little X at the front. I just think it's fun to do. And so even like esports players, I think that's also really fun when they just have, like, you know, Nairo, Zero, Hungry Box. They have all of these, you know, cool sounding names according to them. And I think that really sets esports apart from, like, say, any other sport, you know? I feel like that's something that's ours, you know? That's our thing. If a soccer player started going in saying, like, oh, no, that's not Lionel Messi, that's L Messi 69, is like, ah, boo, you know? Like, that's our thing, you know? I would probably feel like that. Is like, oh, come on, you're trying to appeal to the esports crowd, shut up. But yeah, that's kind of how my name ended up being invented, based on all of that. And I started doing, like, movie reviews, you know, reviews of, like, obviously bad movies, you know, like Date Movie and Meet the Spartans and Smother and all of these boring-ass movies. And so I'm actually kind of proud of those videos. I'm proud of those videos despite the fact that I've lost them. Those don't exist anymore. Because I remember, oh wait, I still have my old review. My very first movie review, I was like 13 or 14, I forget. But it was like an 18-minute review of the SpongeBob movie. And at the time, 18 minutes was a long time because, again, back in the day, YouTube would only let you record or, like, upload videos up to, like, 9 or 10 minutes, right? This was before they let you upload for 15 minutes. And before you became a YouTube partner, and they would just let you upload for however long as you wanted. Oh, sorry. Remember, guys, I'm recording this in the car. And there was a big, giant green truck holding a bunch of leprechauns hostage inside. That's why, hence the green. And the guy was about to make a turn. I don't know why they do this, but, like, so many people, they hit the lights, you know, the turning lights as they turn. Like, they don't do the lights and they say, hey, I'm gonna turn to the left, you better get ready. And then they wait a couple seconds and then they turn. No, they don't do that. Like, as they're starting to turn, they hit the lights. And it's like, dude, that doesn't help me. And so, like, that guy was, like, right next to me. He was to the right of me. And he just starts turning towards me, and I'm like, oh, fuck. Thank God the next lane to my left was completely empty. Yeah, that was scary. Because I just heard recently that Maximilian Dude, again, another one of my favorite content creators, he got into a car accident recently with a truck as well, like about that size, where, you know, he didn't have any space to move and his car got totally ravaged. Fortunately, they were okay, and I'm glad that they're okay. I don't know what I'd do if that guy got hurt. He's a good dude, that man. Maximilian Dude is mature and awesome, and he's like the true, like, adult of YouTube. You know, he's like a cool uncle that really puts things into perspective. Who loves fighting games. You know, your parents need to go out on a business trip during the weekend, spend time with Uncle Max, and, you know, he lets you use his arcade sticks, his old Neo Geo cartridges. Yeah, that's the life. With crazy Uncle Max. Let him pet his dog. What was I talking about? You see, that's what I'm talking about. That's exactly what I'm referring to, is that I am such a chatterbox because I live on my own. You know, if you guys didn't know, I am completely alone most of the time. And so to fill in the noise, to save myself from my own sanity so that I don't lose my fucking marbles, I talk to myself a lot. Not out loud, like I think it, but, like, and again, I'm very introverted, so I'm kind of just stuck in my own mind anyway. And so, like, I just, you know, I narrate my own life most of the time. And obviously that led me to kind of move on from the movie reviews that I was doing. I reviewed 3 movies, and I still remember them. I did the SpongeBob movie first, which was 18 minutes, and at the time, that was super long, you know? It's not like today, where you can do, like, a 6-hour video essay on, like, you know, Kirby Return to Dreamland. And that's like, okay, whatever, you know? I literally, the other day, I spent my weekend watching, like, a 7-hour video on Death Stranding, made by a YouTuber called White Light. And it's probably one of the best videos I've ever seen. It's 7 hours, but my God, it's fucking good. It's really, really good. Apologies for the sniffling, by the way. It's early in the morning, and I'm driving to work, and you know, I got the morning mucus that I still need to eject out of my body. That's why I always carry tissues here in my car. Although it's a really small box of tissues, so any movement that the car makes just completely hides them away from my vision. So I'm just here, like, trying to be like, are they still there? They didn't disappear. Oh my God, they're in the back seat. I just turned around and was like, oh fuck, how the hell did they make it back there? Last time I checked, they were like on the foot of the passenger seat. I guess. Oh no, wait, I remember. Yeah, my younger brother used this car not too long ago, and yeah, he brought someone over to the house, so he most likely moved the Kleenex box out back while they had the guest come over. Yeah. Even though I just said that I live on my own. I do live on my own. My brother, actually, he lives somewhere else. Right now, he's in university. He's like at an art academy. And so he's out there far away. And so he stayed here recently for the holidays. And so just the other day, I think like Saturday, I took him back to the airport, which always makes me feel a little bit lonely because, when he's on vacation from his university, he's always here for like a couple months. For summer, he's here for like 3 months. And for Christmas, which was recently, the 2019 holidays, he stayed here for about a month and a half, which is really weird. Like during summer, it went by really fast, and so I feel like he left really quickly. But then for Christmas, which was a month and a half, it's like a third of the time. For some reason, I guess we just spent more time together. It felt really long. I felt like he never left, I felt like, like he was here for such a long time, and I didn't want him to leave. But, he's really happy over there where he's at, so, If you're listening to the shout-outs, hopefully you like my crappy pilot episode where I'm recording a podcast in my car while I lose my mind in traffic. Here on this clip-on microphone, by the way. If you guys are if I ever have this podcast like be like an actual thing and it takes off, then yeah, maybe I'll have this open for questions. I don't know how I'll be reading questions here in the car, no texting and driving and whatnot. Well, actually, the entire selling point, the entire setting of the podcast is essentially a man who is slowly losing his mind while stuck in traffic. So I said, okay, I'm already the kind of guy that's like, he loves to create content. I'm a guy that just, wants to keep creating, making videos, doing live streams, podcasting and stuff. I've been saying for the longest time, I've been wanting to get into podcasting for so long. And I just haven't given myself like the proper time to really like prepare ahead of time and to, to really record something that's fun or whatever. And so I just ended up not really doing it. And again, because I'm stuck here in traffic and, having to go to work every day, and it's a full-time job. So it's 9:30 to 6:30. It's not a 9 to 5. You got to add an extra hour and a half to that. So yeah. I always, and there's always traffic on the way back home as well. So, yeah, that's a thing. Yeah, and so I end up wasting a lot of time, going to and fro from work. And so by the time I arrive back home, it's like 7:20, like 7:30 at the most at night, 7:30 p.m. And I only have, I guess, like a couple of hours for me to like eat my dinner, cook myself something, shower, do some, work around the house. Because obviously when you don't have any time around the house, then things get dirty, clothes pile up, dishes pile up. And so, you kind of want to do some of that stuff at least, have some hygiene. And so by the time 8 p.m. comes up, ideally what I want to do is to load up a live stream and stream for 2 hours, whatever game I want, and just going to have a relaxing time. But, sometimes it doesn't work out. Sometimes, you see, the shitty part is that I do 9 to 6, when I work. And when I come back, I get, like, messages on Skype of, like, hey, we got to send out this email by tomorrow morning. Can you do this for me? And it's like, are they going to pay me overtime for that shit? Fuck no. But I got to do it anyway. So, yeah. I do marketing, by the way, if you guys are wondering what job I actually work at. I do marketing for a startup company that I actually enjoy. It's really promising. It's gaming related. So yeah, it's a fun time. Usually, mostly because, I work in a very lighthearted environment. It's not like an actual office. It's not a particularly big startup company. Although we're envisioning that maybe someday it will be big. But we're in that small, scrappy kind of stage right now. So I'm kind of enjoying just working at someone else's house. and working at, you know, my own place sometimes. There are a few days in the week where I get to work from home, so, you know. I still don't know how I'm going to be making these podcast episodes, like how frequently I'm going to be making them. Like, you know, once a week or twice a week. Like, my whole idea is that, you know, every single time I'm stuck in traffic for like an hour plus, I'm just going to like break out the little clip-on microphone and just hit record on my phone and just go. In fact, I haven't even checked my recording because I'm just having faith in my recording right now that it's still recording. But my Samsung phone, my A10, I think, A10e is the one that I have. I'm just having faith that it's still recording right now because obviously after a certain while, the screen just turns off. I'm assuming that it's still going. So, you know, I think what I'm going to do right now, you see, now that I'm in traffic, I'm kind of reaching that point where you kind of just get to a full stop, you know, where the traffic is so bad or it kind of just doesn't move. So when I get a little pause, I'll break out my phone and I'll see if it's still recording. If it's not, then I'll be very disappointed. I just babbled on here for nothing. And if I did, then cool. I'll probably just, you know, stop the recording and save it just to make sure that it saves. And then I'll just start off with a fresh, brand new recording. So like that, I can just kind of stitch it together back at home. So let's see. Are we still recording? Oh my God, we are. 21 and a half minutes. All right, beautiful. So what I'm going to do, and I don't see any like lag or anything. Yeah, the only thing I'm worried about is my memory. You know, hopefully I don't run out of memory, you know, in the middle of the recording. I don't know how big the recordings are. But yeah, you know what? Just to make sure that I actually have this recording preserved and I'm not just, you know, wasting my time. Well, I mean, whatever. I'm stuck in traffic, so it's whatever. If I'm not recording myself talking, I'm just singing along to my music here on my car. Which, by the way, I have been playing it in the background the entire time. I don't know if you guys are able to hear it. When I did my test recording, you could barely hear it. And so I'm worried that there might be like copyright-related issues if I have music in the background, but I just decided to just have it very lightly, you know, playing on the radio. And I just want to test that out to see if, you know, you can hear it or not. And depending on how loud you can hear it or if you can barely hear it, then I'll decide if I should just have it completely muted or at least have a little bit of it because I love listening to music, which is probably another topic for another day. But anyway, I'm going to stop the recording now, and you guys are probably going to hear a cut or something, and I'll be right back. All right, everybody, I'm back. It was a pain in the ass having to label that because I'm on a Samsung phone. I just recently got a brand new phone plan, so I'm here kind of, you know, being all finicky, just screwing around with this Android-based Samsung phone kind of thing. Usually I have Apple products like, you know, iPhone, iPad, and all that stuff. I've been used to that for so long. And so recently my dad is telling me like, I'm paying too much for the phone. Go and look for something that's cheaper. And so, okay. And so I called my mom to help me because she's really good at saving a lot of money and, you know, not paying like barely anything for a lot of things. And so she's like, I just found this brand new deal where everybody, you know, if we have a phone plan that's like family plan and we split like 4 phones across all of us, we all pay $30. And so that's total $120 for the whole, you know, charge, you know, for the whole monthly bill. And so I'm the one that takes care of that. So everybody transfers the money over to me and I'm the one that has to pay it, which is fine, you know, as long as everybody pays their cut of the deal, right? And so they didn't give away iPhones. And so the only thing that they had was these Android phones, and they were nice. I mean, whatever, the Samsung A1, A10, I mean, like the A10e or whatever. It's a nice phone, you know, it's not bad. It's the one that has like the little teardrop notch at the top, which is fine. It was a bit of a strange change of pace because what I did during the holidays was that I bought a Google Pixel 3a, which I love. I know that there's a Google Pixel 4, which is a little bit better. But, you know, when it comes to phones these days with these, like, small incremental upgrades, I honestly don't care. The Pixel 3 is freaking amazing. But the problem is that I got it during Black Friday at a Best Buy for, like, a really, really big discount. I got it for, like, $200, which is, like, nothing for phones these days that cost, like, $1,000. And I got it unblocked, so I can just shove in whatever SIM card I want, and I can use it as a phone. But the problem is that the phone plan that I have right now, it doesn't let me change the SIM card until after 6 months of using the service on the phone that I have it on, you know? Which kind of sucks. It's like, okay, you can use the SIM card and change it around, but for some reason you just have to like arbitrarily use our thing for 6 months, and then after that I gotta go to the store and have them switch out the SIM card and stuff, even though I have like the pins and everything to do it. So yeah, my lovely time with the Google Pixel 3a was kind of short-lived, but I am awaiting when those 6 months are. I mean, whatever, I can still turn on the Pixel now, you know, like I can still use it and enjoy it, but I would just be using it as essentially like a very expensive Game Boy. Because, or like an iPod Touch, I guess that would be better said, because everything runs so beautifully, so smoothly. YouTube runs like a charm. All of the games that I've installed on it, Minecraft, Citus, you know, all of the games that I barely own because, again, I've been part of iOS, of that ecosystem for such a long time that, you know, all of my apps, all of my games, all of my premium stuff, everything is like, you know, everything is there on iPhone. And so now that I'm moving to like Android devices, which I now have two of, I have the Google Pixel and I have the Samsung thing. Yeah, I need to start playing nice with the Google Play Store, which is, yeah, it's something that I absolutely have no knowledge of, and I have to like start building up all of my apps all over again. Although the advantage now is that, you know, if I ever decide to use another phone that is not an iPhone, you know, most phones are not iPhones, believe it or not, even though most people have iPhones, but most phones are not iPhones, which is really funny to think about. And so if I ever switch to another phone, then, you know, I can just, sorry, I'm here focusing on the road. I can just log on to my Gmail account or whatever, and I have all of that now. I can just re-download it. I don't have to worry about, you know, oh, it's an Apple iPhone, so I'm going to lose all of my apps again, or like, oh, instead of a Samsung phone, it's like is an LT phone, or like a Hewlett-Packard phone, or a Sony phone, or a Google phone, or whatever. So like, oh no, I lost all of that all over again. Nope. Everything is on Android. Everything uses the Google Play Store. So I'm Gucci. And a lot of these, you know, phones already come integrated with a lot of the Google stuff that I use, like, you know, Google Drive, Google Docs, Google Play Music, which, you know, I use for most of my music, that and YouTube Music. So yeah, most of the stuff that I need is already pre-installed on those phones, so I don't really have to download much to begin with. It's mostly just games and like small little tools and stuff, like the voice recorder that I just downloaded right now. You know, this is the Samsung voice recorder. And so that was kind of the problem, you know, when it comes to being a content creator and you want to be creative and do a lot of editing and stuff, iPhones and Apple products in general are like the best, because it already comes with GarageBand when you have a phone and a Mac. Everything when it comes to like recording audio, recording your voice, recording the screen, recording stuff, you know, QuickTime, all of that stuff, it kind of already comes included with the computer or with, you know, the phone that you're using. So yeah, if you want to make quick content, or, you know, just have something recorded, it's fairly easy to do and simple on Mac. I still like Apple products a lot, even though they're way too expensive and kind of limited when you really want to do more specific things, which, you know, that's what Android devices tend to do a lot better, you know? You can download emulators and shit on, you know, you can download a RetroArch on any Android phone, on any Android phone that you have. You know, the Google Pixel was perfect for that, because, you know, all of its insides are really advanced, so they let you run everything super nice. And so I have like this, you know, RetroArch with NES games and SNES games and stuff. There are some that still chug a little bit, like Nintendo DS games. Like, those don't run well on Google Pixel 3a. And then I said, I had the genius idea of like, oh, let's download PSP games and put them on here, which are like much more advanced. And no, those didn't work at all. I mean, they do work, like they run, but they run in slow motion, like really, really slowly. The only luck that I've had is with, how do you call it, like 2D rendered games, like visual novels and stuff that doesn't have any 3D modeling. That runs fairly decently, but anything that has like special effects or anything that's not just like 2D cardboard cutouts walking around, it just slows down immediately, which is a little disappointing. But hey, At least you have like NES games, Super Nintendo games, Game Boy Advance games work really well. Yeah, plus some Pokemon Pinball on there. We gotta have a new Pokemon Pinball, man. I'm kind of sad that they just had the Game Boy game and then the Game Boy Advance game. And that's it, man. It just ended in Gen 3. You'd think that with the DS and the 3DS, they would have, you know, brand new Pokemon Pinball games for like every generation of Pokemon. But they haven't had one. And now with the Nintendo Switch, where I've been playing Star Wars Pinball like a fucking meth addict, I was kind of hoping that they would come out with a Pokemon Pinball, because if there's anything that can make me like tear myself away from Star Wars Pinball, is Pokemon Pinball. Or, I don't know, some other, like, branded thing for Pinball FX 3. Or Pinball FX 2 VR, you know? If there's anything that can tear me away from any of those pinball things, is exactly that, but in virtual reality. I really love playing pinball in VR, man. It's really fun. But yeah, they should totally have something like that, you know? What I would love, especially now how Nintendo loves to, like, appeal to the nostalgia crowd and whatever, they should have it where it's like all of the older pinball tables, you know, the ones from the Game Boy game, the ones from the Game Boy Advance game, and like a whole bunch of new ones. They should have like one pinball table for every generation, you know, or even more so than that. I always think of really cool themes for pinball tables when it comes to different brands or IPs or whatever, especially after the massive disappointment that was Senran Kagura Peach Ball, which is a really crappy pinball game that I don't recommend. It's way too expensive, and it only has 2 pinball tables, and they're like the most generic thing ever. You know, with Pokemon Pinball, I could totally see it. Like, the ideas are endless, man. And I'm worried that they would turn that into like DLC or something, but like, you know, they should totally do like a rock type kind of pinball table, a grass type pinball table, a fairy type pinball table, like a Team Rocket table, a like, you know, protagonist table, you know, where it's like all of the starters from all of the generations, you know, get together, and like you see the little characters, you see red and blue and like all of these Chicken-chan, all of the protagonists from all the Pokemon games kind of getting together with like little 3D models running around. That'd be awesome. And of course, you catch Pokemon as always. That's something that I really loved from the Game Boy Advance game. I never played the original Game Boy Pokemon Pinball, but I hear that it's good. Most of the time when people refer to Pokemon Pinball, they think about that first one and not the Game Boy Advance one, which I think is like a billion times better. I think that game still holds up today. I remember when it came out as a digital game on the Wii U, and that was amazing. I loved playing that. I loved it for like the 2 seconds that I played it, because my brother, for the most part, owned the Wii U, and he really, really loved downloading pretty much anything he could get his hands on, because, you know, the Wii U didn't do so well in terms of library. Most of the games that came out were good, but again, there just wasn't enough. You know you made it in the gaming industry when you have, like, you know, a bunch of bullshit-ass, awful party games, like 1,000 games in one, you know, that kind of stuff on your platform. You know you made it because, you know, amongst that is your thing is so popular that even like Chinese knockoff shit is like on your console. And that's what the Switch is kind of doing right now. Like Talking Simulator, and like one of the worst games and the best games right now are on Switch. And that's because, you know, the platform is just so popular that there's so many games coming out for it. Gosh, what was I talking about? Okay, I need to retrace my steps because I've just been talking so much about, you know, a whole bunch of different things. Okay, so like the problem is that I need to think about what I was talking about in the previous recording, because what I was doing was that I was talking about something, and I stopped the recording, and now I'm starting a new recording, and I forgot what I was talking about. So now I'm just kind of here, sort of awkwardly just driving. Oh yeah, I think I remember now. I sound like an old man. It's like, oh, what was I? Oh yeah. The story of the video game crash of 1983. Oh, sad times. So many people died that day. Fuck. They all got buried alive with a bunch of ET 2600 cartridges. Oh, the worst massacre in all of Arizona, I tell you. I really want to hear a bunch of old people just to talk to their grandkids about like old ass like shitty video game stories. Now that everyone is so introverted and so like stuck at home, like they don't have any tales of when they went out into the streets and they were being rascals and had a lot of fun. No, it's all about, oh, let me tell you about that time I pwned an epic noob in Call of Duty Modern Warfare, not the original Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. I'm talking about the newer one, Call of Duty Modern Warfare, that came out in like 2019 or whatever. And definitely not the new one that you kids are playing that is just called Call of Duty, you know, Call of Duty 2050. Yeah, people reinvent those titles so much, you know, whereas like, no, this is not Call of Duty 7, it's just Call of Duty. You know, when they just simplify it to just the bare name, it sucks because eventually you're going to want to make a new one. And what are you going to call that one? Call of Duty 2? And then when you want to reinvent yourself again, what are you going to call it? Just Call of Duty again? You know? And, you know, this happens a lot with, like, movie remakes. You know, I think movies did this first. You know? It's like, oh, you know, what version of Godzilla are you talking about? The 1950s Godzilla? The 1990s Godzilla? The 2019 Godzilla? You know? Like, and all of them are just called Godzilla. That's why there's so many, like, games and movies that are just known for the year. You know, Sonic 06. You know, there's the game just called Sonic the Hedgehog. But, you know, don't mistake it with Sonic the Hedgehog from the original 1990s Genesis game. It's the 2006 PlayStation 3, Xbox 360 piece of crap. It's kind of like that. So, yeah, retracing my steps back so as to not sound like an old man. Yeah, in the previous recording that went on for like 20 minutes, surprisingly, oh, look at that. What time is it right now? It is 9:25. And I'm still stuck in traffic. 5 minutes from now, I will officially be late to work, but that's okay. That's okay. I was introducing myself in the previous recording. I was just talking about my origins and my history and everything that I've done in the past, because I'm just assuming that most of the people that will be listening to this podcast, whatever I decide to call this, I was thinking of calling it just something very simple, like Car Thoughts or something like that, and then have like the artwork on YouTube just be like, you know, a car with like a microphone attached to it, or like, you know, somebody like yelling on the car with other people, you know, watching, or like just some stock picture of like a lot of traffic or whatever. I don't know. I feel like I could take this many different directions. I could have it be like super simple, you know, just like one solid colored background and like a car with a microphone or whatever, and then just have the top part mostly be the title. Or I could have it be like mostly visual and then just have the title in the corner or something. I don't know. My mind is brewing with ideas. Although I'm worried that most people are going to look at the podcast and be like, oh, it's car themed, you know, like Top Gear or something like that. But no. I'm going to have to be very specific. I'm going to have to really categorize it as like a comedy / nerd culture kind of podcast, and not a car podcast. I don't know anything about cars. I know it's a big hunk of metal. Well, it used to be metal. It's like aluminum now, isn't it? Cars like bend and you know, break so fucking easy these days. So yeah, it's a big hunk of shiny looking aluminum that, you know, it has 4 wheels and it takes you places. I just realized that I say the word you know a lot, which is mostly just filler noise for me to replace silence when I don't know what to talk about, or like when my mind goes blank for a second. I said like, oh, I don't know what else to say. For some reason my brain just farted, so I gotta like fill in the noise by just saying, you know, I took a public speaking course in community college a long time ago, and they taught me specifically not to do that. You know, it's like, okay, silence is okay. In fact, it can make your statements a lot more impactful if you stay silent, instead of going, you see, yeah. And besides, I am not intending on this podcast to just be me recording my voice and that's it. Like, I'll just upload it and whatever. No. Like, I plan on taking my recordings back home. And this is an Android phone, and I really don't know how to, like, plug this shit into my computer and stuff. I've tried plugging it in before, and it's just, like, complicated and weird. I don't even know how to transfer files and stuff. So I think the best thing for me to do is to just upload all this shit to my Google Drive, and then just download it off of there on my desktop, and then clean it up, you know, edit it, come up with some sort of intro song. And, you know, it's like a car-themed, you know, like on-the-road sort of podcast thing. So maybe I can have it be like a road trippy kind of song, you know, intro song, outro song, maybe have like a stinger here or two. And, yeah, I just kind of stitch all of these recordings together and hope for the best. I listened to a recording. I did a little test recording before I started driving. And it sounded okay, actually. It sounded okay, and you could barely even hear the music. And, you know, I'm talking over all of it, so hopefully, you know, I don't get into any trouble with that. Again, this is just a pilot episode, so chances are this is probably not even going to be on iTunes or Apple Podcast, I guess. This is most likely just going to end up being like a YouTube upload. And then when I can kind of sort of figure out what I want to do, I'll put episode 1 officially out on iTunes. And then I'll most likely do away with the music. Even though I can't live without the music. I love playing music at all times. I love listening to new things. That's one of the benefits of YouTube Music and Google Play Music, is that they give you like radio stations based on like artists and stuff. And so you end up discovering a lot of really cool stuff. There's so many new artists that I've discovered just by like, you know, just grab a radio station and just let it run, which is really, really cool. Yeah, so hopefully this recording really does turn out well. I'll listen back to it with like headphones and everything while on my break during work and see if it, you know, fits nicely. My assumption is that, you know, there's a lot of like background noise, like the humming of you driving around on the road. So that will either rock you guys to sleep, or that'll be annoying, or I don't know. I really don't know. I was not expecting this recording to be perfect, by the way. If you guys thought that this would be like a studio quality recording with no background noise, you're sorely mistaken. The whole point of this podcast is that this is specifically me in my car losing my fucking mind over how bad the traffic is in beautiful, beautiful San Diego traffic. San Diego / LA traffic, because, you know, that's all just one big giant freeway. So yeah, you know, like, if I stay quiet for a little bit, I kind of don't have to worry, because I am going to be editing this anyway. So, you know, I can just put all this stuff on GarageBand real quick and just cut it up, you know, just a cheeky little cut. I can even put a little stinger in there so that it doesn't sound so jarring. Yeah, there's nothing for me to worry about. It's okay to be quiet. I don't expect myself to talk for the entire hour. Yeah, like the length of these episodes will definitely vary. I don't know if I'll do this every day, because I don't drive to work every day. There are like a couple days a week where I work from home. So, you know, there's no podcast there to be recorded, because I'm not going to be in my car stuck in traffic for an hour and a half. So, yeah. And I guess the podcast will end when I actually arrive and I stop my car and I actually arrive to work. I think that would be a good bookend to every single episode, you know? I arrive to work, and that's the end of the episode. And, you know, sometimes it'll be 30 minutes when there's no traffic. Sometimes it'll be an hour and a half, which is almost every day. So, yeah, I think I'll have plenty of time to talk about shit. The only thing that I worry about is that I'll repeat myself sometimes, because one of the big reasons for why I decided to do this podcast, or why I decided to record myself in the car, is that I just talk to myself a lot and I rant and think about a lot of things. And so, yeah, I'm a very ranty person. And so, I am bound to say a lot of stupid shit. And to that I give you the fair warning of just don't listen to me. This is just meant for entertainment. This is just meant for, you know, creating content in a moment where I simply can't. So I'm just like hijacking my downtime to like have that be content. So if I say anything controversial, or if you guys catch me saying the N-word or whatever, just don't listen to me. It's whatever, you know. I honestly, you know I know about as much about like controversial topics that you guys do. I'm just as ignorant as everyone else. This is just me getting my feelings out. If I ever do catch myself, you know, kind of ranting about something that might get me in trouble, you know, just be like, oh, here he goes. He's just ranting like an old man. Let's just mute the audio, wait for him to be done, you know. It's not that serious. My words are not the gospel. I am no important person. I am not anybody that is necessarily worth following that hardcore. So if you ever get offended over anything that I say, well, sorry in advance, but also I don't care. And you definitely should not care either, because I'm just a complete fucking nobody. You know, I am no one important. So your sensitive little feelings shouldn't be hurt because I liked a different movie that you did, or I didn't like a game in the same way that you did, or that I didn't appreciate, you know, something that you did. I don't know. We all have our differences, so I think everybody lives a happier and better life when we just kind of accept people as they are, instead of like trying really hard to change everybody, which, you know, is not necessarily changing them for the better, it's just changing them to whatever you are, you know? It's less be better and it's more like be like me, you know? That's kind of what I catch most people kind of doing, and they don't even notice it, you know? It's like, oh, you know, this political thing, oh, you got to be on the right side of history. And, you know, the right side of history is not necessarily like the objective, official, you know, mandated right side of history. Is just whatever I want you to be. That's the right side. And it's usually those people that end up being on the wrong side of history because they're just being very authoritarian and shitty and just, you know, spend their whole lives trying to tell people what to do. And those are the people that just end up getting a lot of pushback and hate. Yeah. That's a big problem with social media right now. Everybody thinks that they are like the protagonist of their own anime, you know? They all think that they are like the main character of their own movie and they can't possibly fail, right? And so when everything just kind of flies back into their face, you know, when they get the blowback, they just run away, you know, with their tail between their legs, going like, they think they have the high ground by being like, oh, you know, I just want to move past this, you know? I just don't want to deal with it anymore. All this negativity, I'm just not like that. I want to have positivity in the world. I want to have good vibes. That's how everybody says. You know, like, fuck that. You're the one that caused all this drama in the first place. You're the one grandstanding and trying to be like moral police all over here. Don't give me that shit. Don't cause problems and then like run away thinking you're going to get away with it. Don't cause a fire and like don't refuse to like help out and putting it out, you know? Don't cause a fire and then be like, what, me? No, I don't use matches. Just run away from the forest as everything burns up behind you, you know? That's your fault. That's you being an asshole, so please. If you get offended, look deep within yourself instead of deep within me, because I'm literally the most like average, normal guy ever, okay? So don't really take my opinion into account. I'm not a politician. I'm not the boss of anything. I'm not, any kind of like leader of opinion on anything. I'm just a random ass YouTuber with like 5,000 subscribers that likes to talk about video games and just rant about stupid shit, okay? So, I'm telling you all now, and I don't mind repeating myself when it comes to that because I know people will forget. I know people are not going to listen to this pilot, and then they're going to get offended over something I said because I said the word cream in a really weird and creepy way, and so people think suddenly that I'm a horrible Nazi terrorist pedophile monster, and is like, no, I think you might be exaggerating a little bit. So yeah, that's how it is. Anyway, going back to what I was saying before, like 10 layers back of tangents, I was introducing myself and telling you guys about my origins, which is something that I've said already like 7 times in this recording, as I am seeing my exit right here. All right, finally. I am about to reach my exit. And just a couple of turns from here, and I will be at my workplace. You know, now that I'm turning back to see behind me, so that I can make my turn, I'm really happy that I clipped on my microphone, not on my body, but on my belt. You know how you have the belt that goes across your chest? That was actually the best idea I've ever had in a long time. Because, usually these little clip-on mics go on your body, they go on your, like, if you have a jacket, they put it on your jacket, or they go under your shirt or whatever. And I find that I tend to put my microphone on way too close to my mouth because I get really paranoid of whether you guys can hear me or not. And so it's always like, uh-oh, am I being loud enough? Am I being too soft? You know, and so I usually end up going for too loud as opposed to too soft, even though it should be the other way around. When you're recording audio, it's a lot better for you to be kind of like in the middle of the road, because then you can just edit it to be louder later, you know, and then it doesn't sound as bad as when you're peaking the mic. That's what I learned in like making music and stuff. And so I decided to go for, you guys can tell when I'm like making a turn or when I'm like focusing on the road or something, because I'm just like, my brain just kind of, I can't do 2 things at once. My brain just kind of focuses on something else. If you guys can hear me so much more clearly now, and there's a whole lot less background noise, well, that's because I'm not on the freeway anymore at like 70 miles per hour. I'm actually stopping right now. I'm at a red light. So yeah, that's how you know that I'm in a more local street. But yeah, I was a little worried with the recording and how it would turn out because, yeah, this is like a $30 like Purple Kitty microphone, Like this is not like the most high-end professional shit. I literally just plugged in a clip-on mic, like a lavalier mic, onto my phone, and I downloaded like a free voice recording app, like the Samsung voice recorder or whatever, and I just hit record. And there we go. That's it, Really easy. And obviously, I am going to shove all of this into like some editing software, whether it's like GarageBand or Music Maker or whatever. I've already done a bunch of podcasts in the past. I've done 3 podcasts, as a matter of fact. This would be my official like 4th podcast. Oh, no, wait. So I had the Untitled podcast, which was like news or whatever. And I ended that very quickly because that was just, boring and nobody was watching it or listening to it, rather. And then I had the Etchy Cast. No, wait. I had the Noise Report. No. My mind is scattered across a bunch of different things. Okay, the Untitled podcast, which was like gaming news generally. And then it was the Noise Cast. And the Noise Cast was a podcast dedicated to my favorite game of all time, The World Ends With You. And I did like 3 episodes of that and I stopped because I got into like a copyright issue with another podcast that was also called the Noise Cast. And they had that shit copyrighted. So it was like, oh, you're going to get in trouble. And so I just canceled that because I was like, nope, I don't want to get in trouble with that shit. And so I just stopped doing that. But I do want to bring that back. I want to make a World Ends With You podcast again. And I already checked, and the Noise Report is not like anything that people have named for anything, It's like totally open. So I want to make that podcast at some point again. At home, obviously, not in the car. And I want to call it the Noise Report. And I think it'll be cool. And I want to plan it out and everything. And then I did a 3rd podcast called the Etchy Cast. And that's probably the longest running podcast I've ever done. And probably the funniest and the best one I've ever done. I did that with an old acquaintance of mine. Back in a website that I used to work for. That was like gaming related. I would do like news and do reviews and whatever. And so we had a podcast there. And it was fun. I liked it for what it was. It kind of went downhill after a while because we didn't really know what else to do with it. And I argued a lot with my co-host. With a lot of different topics that were not like etchy or whatever. We went really off topic for the most part. And yeah, it was just kind of a disappointing, badly organized, badly planned out kind of thing, and that's kind of what, made the show fall. And on top of that, I had quit the website as well. So, that's kind of what ended it. And then I decided to do like an official, like Good Game Have Fun podcast, which is like the new brand that I kind of go by now. I mean, I'm still the hat person, but like the channel itself, the brand that I go by is Good Game Have Fun. And so I said, oh, Good Talk Have Fun. And so have that be a podcast. And so I made a pilot episode of that as well. And that was fun. But I never really followed up with that, again, because I just ran out of time. And now I'm doing this. So what is that, like my 6th podcast? I don't know what I'm going to call this, like car talk, car thoughts, or losing my mind in traffic or some shit. Anyway, if you guys hear like complete and utter silence and it's just my voice, that means that I have officially stopped my car because I'm here. I'm at my office. I have arrived to work, and I'm not going to record anymore until... Actually, that's a good point. Am I going to record again when I drive back from work? I don't know. I mean, the last recording was like 25 minutes, and this is 31 minutes. So, yeah, that's going to be like an hour. I already recorded an entire hour's worth of podcast, so maybe I'll leave it here. But if I have a lot of thoughts ruminating in my mind, maybe I should. Maybe just for the sake of the pilot, maybe I should experiment and see if it's like a different feeling or something. Recording like at night on the way back from work. Maybe it'll be a different thing. I don't know. I'll think about it. But as long as I have memory on my phone and I have this microphone, like I can just do it on the fly whenever I want. So to anybody that listened to this pilot, thank you very much for listening. Be sure to follow me. As I said, I have a YouTube channel, is Good Game Have Fun. For anybody new that doesn't know who I am, which is probably most of you, I have a Twitter, twitter.com @thehatperson. Yeah, just go to my YouTube channel, just go to Good Game Have Fun, and on the description of every video, I have like a bunch of links to a bunch of different things. So if you guys are interested and you guys want to follow me anywhere, then you're more than likely to find all of my links on there, Twitter, Facebook, Twitch, all of that stuff. And so then, you'll see all the stuff that I do currently, which is mostly live streams. I just stream myself playing games. That's about as much as I can do right now because I just don't really have a lot of time to like really sit down and like make a whole video for hours on end. So yeah, there's a lot of promise for a lot of content that I want to make, but I just don't really have the time right now. Hence the creation of this podcast because, I spend a lot of my time like just driving to and fro from work. And so I said, okay, let's turn down the content. But okay, thank you very much, everybody. Thank you for listening to this pilot. Hopefully you had fun. Go to the comment section and give me some feedback. Let me know what you guys would like to hear me talk about, if you want me to be more focused or more laid back, For me, this is like super just relax, just talk about anything. But if you guys want me to be focused in a little bit of a different way, or, if the audio sounds too crap and you want me to like fix it up or something, then, let me know. Yeah. All right, thank you very much. This is me, THP, signing off, and I gotta go to work. See you guys in like 8 hours. What up, y'all? How y'all doing? This is your boy, Mr. Suck That Cock 499, and we're here to give you all the greatest commentary on the car the world has ever known, man. What was I going to title this podcast? Car Thoughts? Oh yeah. Turns out I went ahead and I searched up on iTunes. Well, it's not iTunes anymore. I keep saying iTunes. I'm so used to calling it iTunes. It's not iTunes anymore. R.I.P. iTunes. Put an F in the chat for that one. But it's Apple Podcast and Google Podcast. It's just big brand and then just add the name podcast at the end. That's creative and not lazy at all. But I was thinking about the name for the podcast and what I was going to call it. And so I went ahead and I searched it. I said, oh, there's gotta be, like, that is such a simple name that anybody would think of. It's like when people call their YouTube series like Real Talk or something, When people say Real Talk, it's like, wow, you're so original. I remember my brother had like a little animated show that he wanted to make, and he called it Real Talk. And I know why he called it that way, because one, it kind of made sense. And then the second reason was that my brother really, really loved Egoraptor at one point. He that was like his idol, and he still kind of is. And so in Egoraptor's show Game Grumps, they would say that a lot. They would say Real Talk a lot. And so that kind of stuck with him, and so he wanted to kind of, use that term for himself. But I was kind of against it, I said, you know what, don't Egoraptor this for yourself, Like, just be a little bit more original, be a bit more yourself. And at the time, I really hated the word Real Talk, because to me, that just seemed kind of disingenuous. It's like, okay, you say Real Talk like everything before that. Like, it kind of implies that everything you have said up until this point is just a lie, Like, you're not being real any other time. No. This is the time when you're real, And nowadays, people say the word real so much that it kind of loses its meaning after a certain point, It's like, if you're just going to be real, just be quote-unquote real or honest, all the time. Why is it going to be like, okay, now here's where I'm drawing the line. Here's where I'm real. Like, no, you're real all the time. Usually when people say, I'm going to be real with you, it usually means, here comes an unpopular opinion that is going to upset everybody, but I'm going to say it anyway, I don't know. That term just doesn't necessarily make sense to me, especially for people that claim that they're real all the time, and then they say, oh, okay, let's be frank here. I'm like, okay, sure. I'm gonna totally ignore the fact that I guess you were just lying to me the entire time, and now you're being honest with me. I know that I'm probably taking it too literally. It's just another form of saying, here comes my unpopular opinion, don't get mad. But, it is what it is. So that's kind of how he kind of got a little bent out of shape about it. I said on Twitter, said like, saying Real Talk is so stupid, for the same reasons that I said it. And so he kind of got a little pissed. He's like, fuck you, I wasn't even my show, Real Talk, don't be giving me shit. And, yeah, I think he made like one episode of that, and then he kind of stopped because he had other, he had other responsibilities, like actually learning how to be a better animator and a better artist and stuff like that. And he's been doing really great. He's like in an art academy right now, and holy fucking shit, his drawings are amazing. He usually likes to do like 2D animated stuff, like, cartoons and stuff, which look really good. I like legitimately like his designs a lot, and I'm not saying that just because he's my brother, but like, I've seen a lot of like, people in my life, like friends that are also animators that draw, and they draw like weird, like DeviantArt furry dudes, and I'm like, hey, you're my friend, so I'm not gonna say that it's shit, but nah, I'm not really into it. But my brother legit, he learns from the greats, He takes a lot of inspiration from, say, like Ren and Stimpy, a lot of the old style, cartoons from back in the day, a lot of the, golden age of Cartoon Network and whatnot. Yeah, they're really cool. And so he had this little show called Real Talk, which is, again, just sort of like a little mini rant of different things or whatever. And I thought it was a good idea. All I wanted was for him to change the name. But I guess that didn't work out. And so I went on Apple Podcasts or Google. Actually, no, yeah. I don't have an iPhone anymore. I have a Samsung Android phone. So I went to Google Podcasts, and I went to search up like the word car, like car thoughts or, driving thoughts or something like that. And sure enough, exactly what I expected. There were like dozens and dozens and dozens of podcasts. And all of them were like, hey, listen to me podcast in the car, which I thought was really funny because, when I was stuck in traffic, just a few days ago, and I was like here, like lamenting myself and belly aching, almost kind of depressed, not really depressed, like fake depressed, going like, man, I really want to like make content. I really want to, make like a comeback on my YouTube channel, like make videos again, like regularly. I still make videos, but like once every like a couple months, and I really want to make time for more of them, all I've had time for recently is to do live streams. And if I'm not doing like some anime ecchi thing, like if I'm not doing Samurai Kagura, or if I'm not doing like Dead or Alive, or like some other, game with sexy girls in it, like people don't go and watch, which is a little bit upsetting. And so I'm like, man, I'm kind of like stuck in a rut, I lost my groove. I lost my mojo, So I have to either A, get my groove back, or B, get my mojo back, or C, find some other movie that I can reference that, relates to me kind of getting back into the groove of things, getting back into that routine of, making videos. And so the podcast where, I'm here driving to work and back home from work, I thought that was a great idea. I'm like, okay, I'm essentially hijacking all of this time that I'm wasting in the car and just use it for content, Which in a way kind of goes against the rules that I established for myself as like a New Year's resolution of like, okay, not every single little mundane moment in my life has to be like vlogged or live streamed or recorded, because that's kind of what I don't like about being a YouTuber. Especially when we live in the age of reaction videos, right? Where anything in the world, as long as it's on YouTube, as long as it's a video, as long as it's a watchable moving image, people can react to it, And so when you see how people take off, like, oh, freaking, what's this guy's called? Tyrone Magnus, or all these people that literally have no personality. They're the blandest shit in the world, but like they just stand there and they stare at the popular thing that is trendy and relevant right now. And they get a lot of views, they get a lot of subscribers, and they're making a lot of money with that. And it's like, fuck, dude, I should be getting in on that too. And so whenever I see something that's popular or something that's hype, I want to watch it, like a trailer for something. And it's like, no, I got to save that for the reaction, And so I think that sucks, like that like money-centered, like, no, me eating spaghetti on the table, that could be content, I can live stream myself eating it and call it a mukbang. I could be reading this book, but you know what? I could read this book out loud and, react and comment on it in a way that I never would on my own, because content. I just don't like this idea how, like, literally every single little tiny thing from, like, fucking eating, massages and all of these mundane little things are like turning into videos. And for some people it legitimately works out, but for most people it doesn't, because most people are the ones that are bandwagoning, that they see the money, they see the dollar signs in their eyes, and they're like, yeah, me too, right? And they think they can make a living off of that forever. They quit their jobs and shit to do like anime reactions. And it's like, go to our Patreon, we'll charge you fucking $5 a month just so that you can watch us watch anime. which I think is ridiculous when everybody else on YouTube just does that for free, you know? And in fact, it's like, yeah, the full episode with full transparency and sound, you know, we're not going to cut it up or anything, which I think is a bad thing because it just wastes more time, especially when it's anime like One Piece or Naruto, stuff that has a lot of filler, you know? I actually like it when you see it straight out of YouTube because they cut it up to just show all of the interesting parts, and it's like, okay, instead of wasting 25 minutes on your stupid ass just watching you stare at this One Piece episode, instead I'm gonna watch a girl with an actual personality, Super Mecha Frieza, where, you know, they just show like 10 minutes of the episode, I guess. And it's all of the interesting parts, and because a lot of these anime have so much filler and a lot of staring and a lot of like doing nothing, is actually a lot better to consume the show that way because you're just doing away with all the fluff that you don't really need to see in order to understand what the story is all about, you know? Gosh, what anime was it that I like was exposed to via reactions? I think it was Etika. Rest in peace, Etika, man. Poor guy. He was watching JoJo's Bizarre Adventure for the first time. He saw all of part 1 and like a little bit of part 2. He was just about to see Caesar Zappelli die. And I think something happened where you know, the stream got shut down for showing JoJo footage on YouTube. And so he never went back to it. And unfortunately, you know, he committed suicide and everything. So he never got to see Caesar die. He never got to see what a stand is. I mean, he saw stands at some point, but like he didn't really understand what it was, you know. He never got to, you know, see past part 2, part 3, part 4, part 5, none of that. And he really loved JoJo, which I think was really sad. He'll never get to see how Attack on Titan ended. Yeah, all of that sucks. But yeah, all those reaction channels are kind of, you know, some of them are good, you know. I like some reaction channels like DB Geek and Super Mecha Frieza, I think is cool. And what other reactions? Oh, West Side Alive is one that I rarely go to. Back when Dragon Ball Super was still airing, I would go see that guy all the time, and he was really fun. He's the kind of guy that's like kind of contrarian, has a lot of hot takes and stuff, but he's really passionate about, you know, the stuff that he likes, and so he's a good personality. I liked him. Etika, of course, you know, but before he passed, I like watching Etika a lot. Who else? I mean, there's a lot of channels that do reactions, but they're not reaction channels, technically, you know? I used to do a lot of reactions, especially during E3. Whenever there's a lot of, like, hot video game announcements, I usually do, like, a marathon of reactions for those. And I don't even care about, like, editing them or anything. I just put them out. And some of them take off, so some of them don't. And some of them, most of them actually get a ton of dislikes, especially when I react to anime. Because there's a lot of hardcore fans of that anime that, like, watch and they just want to see you agree with them, or they want to see you, like, scream and yell and get hyped at the moment that they expect you to. And so they don't actually want commentary. They just want to wait for the yelling, you know? If you talk, they say you talk too much and that your voice is annoying. If you don't talk, you say, people comment and they say, oh, you're stealing content. You're just a leech, you know, you're just using the popularity of the anime so that you can boost yourself up, you know? So you can't really win when it comes to reactions, right? The only way for you to truly win with a reaction, you know, quote unquote win, is to not to not show like 98% of the episode and just show like the minute and a half of, you know, the hype moment that people want to see your reaction to, right? If like in a 22-minute One Piece episode, there's like the last 30 seconds where a dude gets punched in the face like a celestial dragon or whatever, that's the part that they're waiting for. You know, everything else is just anticipation to that. So you're actually a lot better off just posting a minute and a half clip of your reaction instead of just being like, what's up, y'all? How's it going? Yeah, this is Spinach Chunky Eater, Spinach Eater 444 with like 2 X's on each end of the name. And we're here to react to the entirety of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. And like, if you post like the whole 20 minutes, no one's gonna watch it. And I know from experience because I did the Phoenix Wright reactions, and I enjoyed watching the series a lot, but like nobody watched it. But if you go to like YouTube and you see like highlighted little clips or compilations or mashups of like one particular scene in the anime, then that gets a fuck ton of more views than like having to trudge through the whole 20 minutes all over again, you know? Because the people that see the reaction, they already saw the episode. They don't give a shit about the episode. They give a shit about the reaction of the little bit that they want you to react to. So yeah, that's exactly why Uzumaki Khan, one of my favorite reaction channels, most people know him by other people stealing his videos and reposting them, again in little chunks, because Uzumaki Khan, he doesn't, show little bits. He just, he just posts his entire reaction of the whole 20-minute episode, and he doesn't show the footage on screen or anything. It's literally just him sitting there in front of the camera just watching it with no footage. And of course, he has some subscribers. He has some fans that watch him on his channel, but the 100K views that he gets are not his at all. It's from other channels that repost the videos elsewhere, which kind of sucks. I feel like the dude could be making a living off of YouTube if it weren't for that, And if it weren't for Khan, if he was just a little smarter about it and he took a little bit more time to edit those clips and just post them separately, I feel like, it would go a lot better for him. His Patreon and everything would explode in popularity. But he doesn't do things that way, and I think he already has another job doing something else. So he's kind of like me in a way. I could be taking advantage of a lot of opportunities to get popular. For example, the One Piece commercial analyses that I did a little while back, those got a ton of fucking views, and I never really capitalized on them. That would have been the perfect time for me to be like, yeah, One Piece manga chapter review, blah blah blah, and start making theories and whatever, all that stuff that the typical One Piece YouTubers tend to do. I could have done all of that, but I just I wasn't passionate about it because literally everybody was already fucking doing it. Everybody had the little review of the chapter that came out that week. Everybody had their analysis. They had their bullshit made-up theory that made no sense, They all had, their top 5 favorite characters, top 5 favorite devil fruits and whatnot. We've all seen it, We've all seen it many, many times before, to the point where, the only, One Piece-related content that actually has any value to me at all is, 2 people. One is Techie 101, where he, really goes super in-depth on, all the different topics of One Piece. And I just think his personality, just the kind of guy that he is, I think he's really charming. And he's just an amazing guy. I'm not gay, but if I had a guy crush on anybody, it'd be on him. Hey, Tekken, if you're listening to this, I'm available. Call me. Yeah, baby. Call me, baby. Yeah, babe. And then the other guy that I really like a lot is Mr. Morge, who is a guy that, he really does the Psychic Pebbles philosophy of putting out content, where it goes kind of like this. Shut the fuck up or put something out. One of the two. Oh no, it's the other way around. Put something out or shut the fuck up. Don't build up expectations. Don't make any promises. Don't hype up the people just to make them wait a long time. Just, either put something out or just don't say anything, because it'll do nothing but just stress you out and get you in trouble and put you under pressure from the fan base that expects something out of you, right? If you're going to do anything, it's going to be some quality content you're going to put out for people. Which makes sense, in my opinion. So Mr. Morch is this kind of guy that, every, couple of months, he comes out with one video, but it's, the best fucking One Piece video you have ever seen in your fucking life. It's, 36 minutes of, okay, here's why the Dressrosa arc is, incredible and super deep. And he, picks at every single little piece of symbolism and, the story and what it's about and why, this is symbolic of this other thing and why this character's perfect for that other thing. He really makes you think about this series and how, good it is. I mean, whatever, for a One Piece fan, I already thought that One Piece was absolutely amazing, but I never thought that I would be even more impressed by, rereading a manga story arc, or, just hearing it through him, right, through Mr. Morge, and, hearing him putting so much perspective on it, and I just feel like he adds a lot. He adds a lot to the community, and he adds a lot to our consumption of the series, which is a hell of a lot more than what I can say, which is just oh, look, in this One Piece commercial, there's this other character that has blue hair, must be Vivi, just, oh, look, just me pointing with my finger, here's that character that and here's the other character that and who's this? Is it character that Yes, that's right, is the other character that it's literally just me pointing out stuff that people are already aware of, pointing out references and shit. Which, whatever, it's fun for me, you know? That's something that I would have done anyway, so might as well record a video, right? And that's like the one thing that actually gives me a lot of views. So I just go for them whenever they come out. I saw on Twitter today, actually, during my break time, I was having lunch, which, by the way, oh my God, I fucking gorged myself on lunch today with me and my boss. We like to go out to eat pretty often, which I know is unhealthy, but hey, you know how it is with these kinds of things. So we take his car and we go to like a little mall plaza or whatever that has a bunch of food court stuff there. We've had sushi. We've had not sushi. We've been to a sushi place that has like bento boxes or whatever, which is almost like a lunch combo of a bunch of different little things combined. And so yeah, I've legitimately, unironically, had a bento box. I would have loved it if a cute anime schoolgirl ran up to me and said, "Senpai, I made this for you. I hope you like it." And then I eat it in the bench outside of the school with all the sakura petals, you know, flowing down. And then I would eat the food slowly and then swallow and then like wait for a dramatic 5 seconds, turn around and go, "Oishii." Delicious in Japanese for people that don't know. And then she's like, "Senpai," and then she like takes her top off immediately, and we start having wild, intense, and really noisy animal sex, monster sex, right there on the beach, and in the fucking bench. Oh my God, I'm an idiot. Yeah, you see where my mind is going? Yeah, in the bench right there, and all of the students that are turning around, you think they'd be disgusted and be like, "Oh, what are you doing?" Like, no, they'd be like, "Woo, yeah." "Yeah, can I record it?" I'm like, "Yeah." Put it on Snapchat. Sell it. Put it on my Snapchat Premium. On my Premium Snapchat. Yeah. I don't even know what the fuck I was talking about. One Piece. Yeah. I'm talking about Premium Snapchats because I talked about the stupid scenario with the bento boxes with my boss, because I was talking about lunch and how I gorged myself, and then because I was talking about like One Piece or whatever. Oh my God, there's a car crash over here. I'm looking at my right side right now, and there are two cars bumped next to each other. I'm seeing like glass all over the floor, so I think one of the windows freaking shattered. And there's an old man and an old lady just standing there in the middle of the freeway. Yeah. Oh, there we go. Now the traffic is cleared up now. It's impressive how one little car accident completely like fucks over everyone else, right? How it completely slows down all of the traffic. And the moment you walk past, well, not walk, the moment you drive past that little accident, like automatically the fucking freeway is empty. Like, geez, man. And all because people are slowing down just to see who fucking died, all right? And it's like, oh, what, no one died, no blood? Well, okay, I guess I'll keep on going. No, but for real, though, sometimes there's, like, cops there, and they're like, okay, just, like, you know, move away slowly. There's, like, one or even two lanes that are, like, occupied that are blocking the path, right? And so all of those cars build up, and they compress on just a couple of lanes, and so that's where the slowdown comes in for the most part. But, you know, where I'm from in Mexico, you know, that usually doesn't happen. People, it is exactly how I say, you know, they slow down to see if anybody fucking died, and it's like, oh God, how horrible, and then they move on, you know? That's how much humans care about each other. But yeah, let's see, which one of the many, many different tangents can I follow up on? Yeah, so I was coming up with a name for my podcast. There we go, going back to the root of what I was talking about. So I went on Apple Podcasts and I was looking for names for my podcast, and I was saying, maybe I'll call my podcast Car Thoughts or something like that. I was even gonna say something like, Ramblings on the Road or something like that, or Road Ramblings, actually. I was looking for that name. I wanted that, like double R, Road Ramblings. It sounds cool, there's two R's at the beginning, you know, a bit of alliteration on there. You know, it sounds nice. But there's so many titles that are like Car Thoughts, and then there's another one with a slightly shittier thumbnail that says Car Thoughts, and another one that says Thoughts on the Car, and then another one that says My Thoughts on the Car. It's like all of those jazz bands, you know, back in the day in like the fucking 50s or whatever, when jazz got really, really big, and then there were these two bands that were like, the Jazz Rhythm Kings. And then there was another band that was like called the Jazz Kings of Rhythm. Yeah, they literally just flipped the the two names there. But what the fuck? There's only there are two kings of rhythm, a rhythm king and a king of rhythm. There can be only one. I'm sure those two bands had an epic sword fight, and they had to chop all the members' heads off of the losers so that they could absorb all their power and be the true kings of rhythm / rhythm kings. It was really tough trying to, come up with a name that wasn't already taken. But, in the age of the internet, where it's less about making it big everywhere and more about finding your niche, because everybody has already done fucking everything. Because as I said, when I came up with the idea of recording the podcast in the car, driving on the way to work and driving back, I was like, fuck yeah, I'm a fucking genius. Yeah, I bet nobody's done this idea before. Woo! Yeah, hey, old lady out there walking your dog, I came up with a great idea for a podcast. And then she yells back and says, who gives a shit? Oh. Mom, I got 440 subscribers. Who gives a shit? Oh. I don't know if you guys have seen that video. It was a good video. You guys should watch it. It's like 10 seconds long. Yeah, I think I'm going to end up calling it something that's, car related and me rambling like an idiot related. So, road ramblings. That sounds cool. Or, I could have it be on brand and have it be like good drive, have fun or something. But that's the thing. I don't want like every single news show that I make be like good something, have fun, I feel like that's a little too lazy, but I might be able to get away with it this time. Because the podcast, like the official branded podcast, is supposed to be good talk, have fun, and I still intend on making it. But I feel like I have more time sitting here doing nothing in the car than I do in my house. So, I don't know, maybe this can be good talk, have fun, no idea. But I kind of like the idea of this being its own separate thing, It's almost like a vlog. It's almost like I'm vlogging, but as an audio vlog. Yeah. Do people still call vlogs vlogs? Like, the only people that I know that call the vlogs is people that existed in that older era of YouTube, like the that guy with the glasses member / channel awesome dudes, all of those people call it vlogs, but everybody in the modern day, all of those kids, all of those youngins, all those little rascals of today, they call it vlogs with a V. And honestly, I don't mind that at all. It's so much easier to say vlog. There we go. There's like a blog, but more V. There's more V in your bite. Yeah. So on the spot, I'm probably thinking of maybe calling it that. And then if it wasn't the time, again, I apologize if I'm like stuttering or like muttering and just not speaking clearly enough. As I said in the previous recording, you guys will know damn well when I'm actually focusing on the road and trying to drive correctly instead of trying to put on a show, because my mind will focus on driving, and so my language will be like, and then when I start speaking clearly, they're like, okay, back to podcast mode. So that was the title. That was me looking for a name. And so obviously, I don't know why I thought that I was the only one, but I was not the only one. There's a bunch of people that are recording podcasts on their car. There was one that was like, oh, listen to me in the car with my kids. And then there was another one that was like, oh yeah, road trip, the road trip podcast. We're like driving all across the country and we're, making a podcast. That kind of thing. There were a lot of driving related things. Obviously Top Gear, there was the Top Gear podcast. But then there was other things that kind of branch off of that. One is just, my musings and thoughts during the car, which is exactly what this fucking podcast is. But, I can spin it, I can have it be like, the nerd car or something like that, because I'm sure a lot of the people that I saw making those podcasts, they seem like normal-ass dudes, they were either like journalists or like mommy bloggers and stuff like that. They were like regular adults that haven't touched on Nintendo in their life. So, if I can make myself more distinct, it can be like the gaming car or the Game-mobile or something like that, This is specifically a nerdy-ass, weeb-ass, anime-loving, video game-loving, anime-wanking, pan-shitting, pan-sweating, just normal, average guy that is a big fan of all the nerdy shit. that is going on his way to work on his other video game related shit, that is recording a podcast on the car, right? So that's my niche. That's my niche right there. So I'm a gamer, nerdy guy that is having car thoughts, you know? So instead of having to be all generalized and calling it car thoughts, it can be like nerdy, I don't know, man. Nerdy thoughts in the car. Losing my mind in traffic. Traffic jam. Oh, that would be really cool. Actually, that sounds nice. I'll probably end up calling it that. Traffic jam. And then the description could be something deceptively simple, like the story of a man slowly losing his mind while stuck in traffic. And it's just me talking about nerdy shit, or ranting about YouTube, or something like that. Or talking about my origins, which is something that I haven't finished talking about since the last 2 recordings, because I keep going off on tangents. But hey, look, this is the longest I focused on the main topic at hand, which is just me trying to come up with a name for the podcast. And the art, oh my god, the cover art for podcasting, geez. I had a lot of fun designing the cover art for the Good Game Have Fun podcast, you know, Good Talk Have Fun. It was difficult because obviously I am no artist, and it's tough to come up with a more original cover art than just a big ass microphone with like some text that say the name of the show, you know what I mean? And so I just wanted like my logo, essentially, Good Game Have Fun, but like with a T instead of another G. But I don't know, I thought it was a little too lazy. Maybe I can come up with something better, but again, as a non-artist, I think I did a fine job. And then I gotta come up with art for this one. Now, because this one is like more car related and stuff, then I feel like I can probably come up with some more ideas. What I was thinking just now is to have a car like seen from the front, but give it like giant nerd glasses, and then have that be like the nerdy traffic jam or something like that. I just want something that really, like, you know, heavily shows that, hey, this is like a gaming / nerd culture kind of thing while stuck in traffic. Because I feel like everybody just goes for like super general. They just show a car and they say road trip cast, or, you know, just a very simplified like solid color background, and then in the front is like a clip art of a car, and it's like, oh, mommy blogger driving with her kids, stuff like that. So maybe I can probably take it upon myself to really be a little bit more original, a bit more like gamery, I guess. I can just play to my strengths in that aspect. Huh. Yeah, I'll think about it. I'm very likely going to have like a placeholder. I don't know when I'm going to put this out on iTunes. You know, as far as I'm concerned, you guys are going to listen to this like a month after the fact, you know, whenever I have time to do this. As soon as I get home today, I'm going to, you know, take these recordings and I'm going to split them all together into one big recording so that I can see how it sounds like, how, you know, how it feels like. Yeah, I think it'll be fun. It'll be a fun pastime. It'll get the creative juices flowing. It's a brand new project, a brand new endeavor, and that's always exciting. So, you know, that inspires you to kind of work on it as much as you can. And, you know, with a podcast, it's fairly easy. So, you know, just to find the points of silence where I can just cut all of that. Yeah. I'm tempted to just listen to the whole thing, you know, from beginning to end, but that's like what? That's like 1 hour from the morning when I was driving in, and then like 45 minutes of me going back. That's almost 2 hours, man. I don't think I can take that much, you know, listening to it. Like, that's the 2 hours that I usually use for like streaming, you know, so that I can stream a game or like just hang out or relax or eat my dinner or something. The couple hours that I have free before I go to bed and fucking wake up and go to work again, you know. But luckily for me, I actually work from home tomorrow, which means, oh, and Wednesdays are late days as well. Oh, yeah. One of my favorite things about this job is that on Wednesdays, we start working 1 hour late, and we get off of work 1 hour early. Oh, baby. That means I can actually sleep in today. That's cool. So I start working at 10, and I get off at 5, I guess. Yeah, 10 to 5, because I do 9 to 6, so like an hour extra from the usual 9 to 5. And, yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Working from home is actually really difficult now that I'm actually doing it. Now, granted, I only do it a couple days a week, but I faced a lot of challenges that I actually got in trouble for at work because when I'm in my room, I mean, I'm a YouTuber, you know, I'm a content creator, and that's like my laboratory, you know, that's the place where I thrive the most. So I'm there like writing down ideas or recording something or playing a game. Everything is at my hand's reach, you know, I don't have to do much to engage on like a YouTube video or a stream or a game or fiddle around with my OBS settings or Photoshop something new or whatever. I'm always creating or doing something. My guitar, my instruments, those are all in my room. And so when they tell you, hey, you got to work on this thing, it's like, yeah, sure, I'll get that done, you know, but like you just get distracted with so much shit. And so we have a way to like, you know, measure accountability and stuff. There's like a daily check-in that you have to do. And so I was taking too long to do something because I was like slowly picking away at it and getting distracted with other things at home. And so like my boss got kind of mad at me, and he said, well, I'm gonna have to, you know, deduct a couple days pay for not working on these days. And I'm like, fuck, you know, I just felt really bad, you know. I legitimately didn't want to upset my boss because he's a guy that I really like a lot and I respect him and he's really smart. And so looking bad like that is just like, no. And where the fuck are you gonna find another like video game related job, you know, at around like in Southern California where everything is like bioengineering and medicine and nursing and shit, or like law or whatever. Yeah, like tech jobs and like video game related jobs. All of that is in either San Francisco, LA, or in New York City. Those are that's like the triangle there if you want to find work for, you know, those kinds of categories. And so I said, my God, for a SoCal to be as big as it is really strange that around like the San Diego area or whatever is like, it's like fucking impossible to find jobs. And, you know, the ones that I did find are like unpaid internships for like college students or whatever that don't pay fucking anything, you know, barely anything. Yeah, if it's not unpaid, they pay practically nothing. So, yeah. And, you know, I'm a graduate. You know, I graduated. I have my communications studies degree that I can technically use on anything that I want if I'm smart enough. And, yeah, for such an open-ended degree, it's both easy and hard to find something. It's really easy because if you want to find a job, you'll find it, you know? But the challenge is if it's something you'll actually like, you know, something that you'll actually enjoy doing. That's the tough part. And so that's what I ended up doing at some point. I remember I was unemployed for like an entire year. My parents were supporting me. They were paying my bills and stuff for my place. And I felt awful. I felt stressed out and bad. I'm like, look at me. I'm like 25 years old and my mommy and daddy are taking care of me, you know, like that bullshit. I just didn't like that. I just felt bad. I wanted to be independent. And so I was looking for like video game related jobs, you know, being like the marketing guy or like the social media manager for like some company or something. And I just did not fucking find anything. And when I did find something, I never got a response back. Like I would throw out my resume like it's fucking Halloween candy, just giving it away, you know, to anybody that would bother to look. And I either A, never got a response from any of these people ever, or B, they would respond to me saying like, oh, you know, this is all already taken. There's already a candidate or whatever. There was a guy that we just took in. Sorry. And so I had no choice. I'm like, you know what? I'll just take anything. Literally fucking anything. And so there was this marketing firm that worked with a lot of really big companies like Google and AT&T and all that kind of stuff. And so what they would do is that they would stand in front of stores, like say the Costco or the Walmart and stuff, and they would wear like AT&T polos. And if you have ever come across a really annoying person that would stop you at the entrance and be like, excuse me, sir, how much are you paying for TV and internet right now? Like those people that try to sell you on like DirecTV and cable and shit. You know, those people that you always see them next to some other adults that are like angry and pissed. I'm like, oh, you charged me extra for this thing. What the fuck, you know? People that say, no, man, I hate DirecTV. You screwed me over. Yeah, those guys. I ended up working for those guys. I was one of those people at some point. And that happened to me one time. There was like this, sassy black lady that came up to me and says, you know what? I got a lot to say about DirecTV. I hate it. You know what? Like, I've been struggling with you. You know, like I fucking made it. You know, like I invented DirecTV and, you know, she's coming to me directly to complain about me about somebody. And I'm there like Thanos going like, I don't even know who you are, you know? And just like, I've been struggling with you for so long and your service is terrible and I have a lot of questions. You better fix it. You better fix my problem. It's like, oh God. And so there was an easy fix for that. Usually, because it wasn't a Costco, it's like, but we have this special number for Costco members, and it's not like the normal phone number. This is a special phone number that really fixes everything. And it's like, I didn't even know if it was true or not. That they just told me to do that. And so I gave the numbers, and like, well, okay, thank you. And just they run away. Well, yeah, I did that job for 2 weeks. Just standing there like an idiot, trying to sell TV and internet to like, old people that don't know any better. And I actually did. I sold like cable and internet and phone, like the whole package for one guy. And yeah, it was a nerve-wracking experience. And the guy that was training me would like really give me a hard time, like scolding me over like how I wasn't absorbing any of the stuff that he was teaching me and that I was doing a bad job and shit. And I was doing a bad job because I'm very introverted. I don't like socializing or talking to strangers and shit. So like I got really nervous and yeah, it was awful. It was awful. After like 2 weeks, I fucking quit. I quit the fuck out of that job and I got like $350 or whatever, just like on the time, because that would pay me like no, not even that. It was like $13 an hour or something shitty like that. Most of the pay would come from like commission, from selling all of that. And yeah, I think I was supposed to get the money from that sale that I got. But the problem was that I quit like immediately after, like on that day that I made the sale. And so I guess they just didn't give me the money for that. The motherfuckers. These guys owe me that sale. But anyway, if you guys have noticed, just on the silence alone, you don't hear the rumblings of the car anymore. I have arrived. I'm here in my garage. I just wanted to finish that thought the episode. But anyway, thank you very much for listening to me ramble on. If you guys did not have like a good sense over how bad my tangents are, then I think you'll get a really good idea now. This is why I think that this podcast is going to have a lot of longevity because, I just have so many rants and ramblings and tangents and a lot of stupid thoughts that I have in my mind that it just creates like this long human centipede chain of like, incoherent thoughts that I think this is going to be good. Or at least for me, this is entertaining for me. This is just content. This will be a good excuse for me to get the YouTube channel, back up and running again. So, yeah. Let me know how much you guys like this. If you guys think that I just sound like a crazy old man, or if you guys legitimately are entertained by this, then fine, fuck it. Let me know in the comments or wherever you can give me feedback, wherever I upload this. And let me know what you think. If you like it, cool. And if you don't, then I'll just fucking stop doing it and I'll just rant to myself like a crazy person without recording it. So, yeah, maybe not everything. That's how I know that maybe not everything in life has to be recorded, because if you feel the need to talk to the public every single day, you're bound to say something stupid. And I have said a lot of stupid things. I've been doing YouTube for 13 years. You think I haven't said anything stupid or controversial during all that time? Hell nah. I have my fair share of controversies, I'm sure. And if they haven't happened, they will happen at some point. Anyway, love you all. Follow me on my social medias or whatever. I don't know. If you guys want to, you guys will do that on your own. You don't need me to tell you that. All right. Thank you, everybody. I'm going to go home and, just chill. Maybe I'll stream. It's 7:30 now. I could stream at 8. I could stream something. But not really. I kind of just want to chill. I'm hungry. I'm going to eat. All right. See ya.